The Rams' last game before the bye was against the Panthers and Christian McCaffrey. It was the Christian McCaffrey showcase game. We talked about this on the pod. The Panthers put him on display that day. Christian McCaffrey against the Rams had 20 touches for 158 yards, 8 yards per touch. Okay. 13 carries for 69 yards, 7 catches for 89 yards. He is not Deebo Samuel. They are different. But he had kind of an old school 2021 Deebo Samuel game the last time he played against the Rams. And so on one hand, you go, the Rams just saw him. But on the other hand, if Deebo can't play, then I think the Rams defense and the Rams as a team are coming for these. The Niners talked a lot of shit last time. And McCaffrey's going to have to kind of, cash those checks that Deebo wrote. Although it's not Deebo's fault. But McGlinchey pointing at Jalen Ramsey, right?
Deebo did talk some shit after the game,
but he to me,
he's allowed to.
Yeah, he did it. Like, he did the deed, So
because didn't he say I wasn't quite sure what he was trying to do when he said Jalen was backing up?
Yeah.
But the McGlinchey thing is
McGlinchey pointing in his face, and the Niners have beat them a lot in the regular season, so they have earned that as a team. But McCaffrey was not a part. So McCaffrey's got to, if there's no Deebo, don't you agree? This is going to be a lot of, and I think Kittle will have to, the yak, dudes are going to be coming in to make stops. But this could be a McCaffrey game. This could need to be a McCaffrey game.
I saw a clip yesterday from practice that McCaffrey was taking just running routes on air, which isn't that crazy. I bet in McCaffrey's career, he doesn't just run running back drills. He is a hybrid. I do wonder if he's getting legit cross training this week that they could just put him in the slot, right? Legitimately just put him in the slot, or find out, can we put him on the outside? Because here's what happens if Deebo
they did last week. Remember that play that we were talking about where Juszczyk had to tell him where to line up?
You're right. I would guess there would be some legit wide. If Deebo and Juwan Jennings are out, he's probably playing some wide receiver this week, which he should, because the other thing is losing Juice. Juice is another guy that could line up in the slot several times a game. So that's part of the blow.
And is a tough guy, right? And breaks tackle and brings the heat.
I do wonder if Deebo and Juwan Jennings are out, that's pretty easy for the Rams then to just have number 5 fall around 11. I would imagine Ayuk sees Jalen Ramsey the entire game. That's just, why would you not, right?
Yeah.
You put your best corner on their best wide receiver, and then you basically, I saw our guy Akash tweeted out a couple last night. Still photos. What? What did you say?
That was Onaverathan, I think is the last name.
I didn't even attempt.
I got it on the pronunciation
he had some
guide
good
right here.
still photos of Ty Davis Price. There was just an underrated part of Elijah Mitchell's game. Honestly, it's probably what he hangs his hat on, because he's not super fast. He's not super big. He's just a natural. And there are holes in the Shanahan offense that it's not predicated, right? When I was at Fresno State and then Andy ran the same play, the power. You pull a guard, you pull both guards, and you lead up with a fullback. The hole is set. Within 5 or 6 feet, where you're going. Kyle's offense and just the zone running scheme in general is a lot predicated on feel. It's an outside zone, but you're allowed to cut it completely back if it's there. Some big runs happen. Ty Davis Price went the wrong way on a couple. And I do wonder if he's not quite ready. He's definitely very talented, but on that specific zone running scheme, that this year might be somewhat of just a complete learning, and just
is that how that works?
Well, the knock, I remember Darren McFadden. There are certain players that actually don't. Adrian Peterson, they just want to specifically be told where to go and then let me cook. I got no problem. And Ty Davis Price, wouldn't you say, kind of falls under this umbrella, lowering a shoulder, breaking a tackle? Just tell me what to hit. I'll hit it. And I got no problem trying to run the guy over. And you watch his LSU tape, that's kind of what he was doing. Elijah Mitchell's much more kind of feeling Frank Gorish, right? And that makes me a little nervous. This gets back to McCaffrey. You kind of need him to be your backup running back as well. I know he's technically your starter, but you know what I mean? He's got to basically split. He's got to take a ton of carries as well with Wilson. Because ideally, you would just kind of use them all over the place if Deebo's out, and have just your running backs just hammer the ball between the tackle. And then, 2 or maybe more than 2, but like 5 true carries that he's going to take big hits, and then a lot of like wheel routes, slot routes, screen plays to McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But do you kind of need him to run the ball if you don't feel Ty Davis Price is fucking ready to just hit it?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Wilson carried the ball well last week, right? Which does free McCaffrey up a little bit.
True, but like if you're going to run, like if you plan on going into the game 25 carries, okay, so I'm giving Wilson 10 to 12, right?
Yeah.
15, there's another 10. Like if I
Well,
don't
maybe it's back to Debo gets 5, right? They kind of moved away from that.
But he's out, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So McCaffrey kind of has to take that role.
Ayuk jet sweep.
And this is where the trickle-down effect happens so fast, right? You feel like, God, the Niners have an unlimited amount of weapons. Now it's like, well, shit. I mean, we need McCaffrey to move over here. Now we're missing juice.
It is an argument, and we did talk about this. It is an argument if you want to make a for the trade argument.
If you can play a receiver, it works.
Yeah, that you get running backs hurt. You've got some receivers that have been hurt. So get a guy that can actually help you in both spots should you need help. And, maybe McCaffrey does. The other thing with him, if he has a good game against the Rams and helps you beat the Rams, the team that you upped your bid to beat in the trade, right? And you traded a second, a third, a fourth, and a fifth for him. That does help you make the argument. If it's like, well, we got him, they didn't get him, he helped us beat them. That helps. Now, you don't remember that in 3 years if he's been hurt and you haven't won and you don't have any picks. Like, who cares that you won that one game October 27th of 2022? But right now, like, they'll be walking around the offices next week on a bye pretty satisfied with themselves if McCaffrey helps them beat the Rams, specifically because, they wanted them.
You want to hear the stat of the day? Now, this is all predicated if Tampa loses tonight to the Ravens. The Panthers can beat the Atlanta Falcons this week and be in first place.
Wow. Now, I will say they are not beating the Falcons this week. To me, the Panthers have the classic college football thing. Like, coach gets fired, interim coach takes over. Now, they actually lost right away first, right? This was Steve Wilkes' second game. The Niners got him fired. Then they played a game. Then they beat the Bucs.
Oh, yeah, because they played the Rams.
They lost to the Rams. So, but this happens all the time in college. In the Pac-12, you and I both watch it. It's happened twice already this year. Herm got fired. New coach takes over. Upset Washington. Colorado. Their coach gets fired. Interim coach takes over. They beat Cal.
Yeah.
Colorado got run the next week.
I would say it's a Power 5 in NFL consistent. Like, you usually get an inspired effort. And if you don't, it's time to just cut a lot of people.
I also think the Bucs, in a weird way, have like less juice than the Falcons do right now. Now we'll see Thursday night. The Bucs think they belong in a game with the Ravens, right? Like, that's a Power 5. Again, the college football thing is like, that's, when LSU plays a Cincinnati, all due respect to Cincinnati, now they might give them more respect. But like 4 years ago, you play Cincinnati in a bowl game, you're like, fuck this. And then Cincinnati wins. Auburn, maybe they beat somebody, Auburn or LSU.
Well, they beat Georgia the year Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, and they beat Georgia players are like, I don't even want to be here.
Now, the Panthers did kick. I watched a fair amount of that game. They kicked the Bucs' ass. Like, they scored real touchdowns in that game, not real BS stuff. But that's a hell of a nugget. That is a hell of a nugget.
Yeah.
Anyway, McCaffrey game. This would be on the flip side of that.
I'm with you on the value. If he can, we know he can, but like, he's got to do it. The value goes dramatically up, and you feel less like nitpicking over, was it really worth all these? Like, to me, a fifth and a fourth round pick mean nothing to me, especially a future fifth. Like, that means nothing to me. You could argue the fourth round, but like second and third round players, they do mean something to me. I've said over and over, I don't put that much stock in once we get to day 3 and they start going to like the Colts, Reggie Wayne from the zoo, once you start doing that. But the second day is a real day, right? Where you're getting starters, and and they're cheap. So it allows you, when you have second and third round picks, to I just think to like make moves. And now, historically, like the Niners got Trent Williams for a third. The Eagles got Darius Slay for a third. So obviously it costs money to get good players, older veterans. And this one was unique because you were in a bidding process. But when you are a Swiss Army knife, and which that's always he's hung his hat on, and I think, wouldn't you say when he got on draft night, when Christian McCaffrey went 8th, that was kind of like, damn.
Yeah,
People thought he was going to go in the first round.
Yeah.
I wasn't the biggest fan because I thought he
was
was
the pick
of the player, because I didn't envision him being able to be like a sweet running back. I knew he could be a sweet wide receiver, but I was like, in the top 20, you're going to take basically Julian Edelman meets Wes Welker, even if he can become the best slot. I thought it was kind of great, but he's a great running back.
A cross-racial comp?
Jarvis Landry meets Alvin Kamara. But he's an elite player. And then it turns out the knock on him was more just, can he stay healthy? And now, for the first time in a long time, because he's only played on shitty teams, like a lot of people are like, how does he look with all the chips on the table? Like that Rams game, for example, when he clearly got the classic, like, put you on a showcase. That game meant nothing ultimately, right? So this is big. Like, he's every tackle he breaks, every touchdown he scores, every game that he allows them to miss an all-pro. Think about that. Like, hey, man, we need you to step up because we're missing our all-pro Deebo Samuel, who we just gave $60 million to.
Yeah.
Who carried us to the NFC fucking championship last year. Can you do that?
Against this team, toe-to-toe against this team.
Well, you don't just need me to try to save Matt Rule's job and catch balls from Teddy Bridgewater. No, like, this is 125 game Fox. It's going to have 15 million people watching.
Yeah. Burkhardt's coming in on the jet after a game.
We think. I mean,
do they play Friday, Saturday?
Does Burkhardt call World Series games or Joe Davis?
No, he does the studio, though. Like, they are on site. Is it Friday, Saturday World Series games or Friday, Sunday?
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. So Burkhardt will be in on the jet Sunday morning.
Yeah.